Hi again, Caribbeanologists. This video might be somewhat late, but I'm going to bring it up today because the topic has reared its head again on a Facebook page that I'm a part of. But the topic surrounds reparations, but I'm going to talk about something else also along the lines of reparations. Anyway, there was a fever pitch of talk about reparations leading up to the year 2019. Why the year 2019? Well, supposedly that marked the 400-year mark of the start of slavery in the Americas, what we call African slavery on this side of the world. Supposedly the start date would have been in the year 1619. So 2019 would have been 400 years. During that time, I think it was back in 2019, the leader of Ghana made a few trips to this side of the world, namely down in the Caribbean, and was encouraging black Caribbean nationals to move to Ghana or to come home to Ghana, or they're welcome to come to Ghana to visit, to live. Quite a few celebrities also made it over there. It was a big deal. So people figured that since we're talking about the 400-year mark, that reparations would have been a topic. Reparations meaning that these former colonial powers that engaged in slavery, that brought millions of Africans from the continent of Africa over to this side of the world to enslave them, should be compensated in some form. Most people generally think that is in some sort of a monetary way. But of course, there's been so much argument about this coming from the white community, like, how are we going to put this money out? Who are we going to pay? There's nobody today that knows any ancestor that was a slave, and your grandparent is not a slave, your mother, your father is not a slave or an enslaved person. So why should we be giving you money? And a lot of them will tell you, my grandparents never owned slaves, so why should you be getting money? So that has been the argument about all these type of things. That's a whole other argument I'm not going to get into right now. But to give my 5 cents about reparations, I have said that it probably should not come in the form of monies, because that could get really crazy. I believe how it should be passed out is in the form of improving the infrastructure and the technology of a lot of these Caribbean islands. I'm so sorry about that. I happen to be out on the road, so there's going to be a lot of noise. To these Caribbean islands and other countries in the region, like in Central America and South America, I believe that Europeans, what if they want to pay, or if they're going to pay, they should pay in the form of building state-of-the-art hospitals, state-of-the-art schools, improving infrastructure, improving the road systems. If I'm not mistaken, in Jamaica, the Dutch, I believe, built a highway out there for them. I don't know if it's just one of the highways. I know the South Coast Highway has something to do with the Dutch. They didn't do it for free. So it's like a 30-year lease to Jamaica where they're making some money off of it, the Dutch, that is. Things like that. I think if you were a former colonial power like England and you benefited and still are benefiting from slavery, I think that's where the money should be placed, in helping in infrastructure, building up the place. Again, state-of-the-art schools, building up the infrastructure, that we're not dealing with those kind of roads that we're dealing with, because a lot of times the governments down there, yes, in the Caribbean, they may squander money and they may do all sorts of crazy things. But one of the big complaints we always have down in the Caribbean is about our power systems and our road systems. Road is bad, power is always going off. Just imagine if these Europeans, if they wanted to go ahead and compensate, reparations, put it over in that way to help us build up those things. Just want to throw that in. Anyway, back to talking about who should be paying reparations. I don't know if this question has been asked. I'm sure it has been, actually. But if the leader of Ghana is going to travel to welcome back or welcome home people in the diaspora, black people in the diaspora, that's all good. But if I'm not mistaken, I think around the same time there were some leaders. One second. Got a little dark there. There were some leaders from Africa who apologized for their role in slavery. And what does that mean? I know some people don't like to hear this, but yes, there were some African tribes that engaged in slave raiding who went and captured other Africans in war, or however they may have done it, and basically sold them off to the Europeans, or gave them to the Europeans in return for something, and the Europeans then took it from there and did whatever they wanted to do, which we know most of these people ended up in slavery on this side of the world. So my question is, should those African nations or African tribes also be forced to pay reparations? Now, I know that might be a little difficult thing to say, because African nations, for the most part, are not on par with European nations in terms of monies. So that might be asking for a tall order. But it's something that I just wondered about. Should they also be involved in reparations? All right, just a question to ask out there. But here's the other thing that I wanted to talk about. Speaking about the diaspora and a lot of people moving back to Africa or moving to Africa, I've been watching a lot of videos with a lot of black young people leaving places like England, the Netherlands, Sweden, and they're moving to Africa. There are Americans also. I'm sorry about this lighting situation here. But anyway, a lot of Americans, black Americans, have also been moving over there. People from the Caribbean have also been moving to Africa. One of the more popular destinations happened to be the Gambia, and another place, of course, Ghana. And I guess there are a few other places that they're moving to. And I think that's a great thing, to be honest with you. I really believe it really is a great thing. If it's something I would like to do myself. Probably not feasible at the moment, but it would be something I would love to do. But now that they're moving over there, there is a concern that I have. And this concern comes up because of something that happened years earlier in the African country of Liberia. If you remember, the land we call Liberia today had its own peoples, had its own tribes. And the United States basically settled that area with freed slaves from the United States. It was like, hey, you know what? No hard feelings. We can give you some land. It's just not going to be over here in our country. And we can ship you back to Africa. And we're going to settle you over there. And that country became known as Liberia. But what started happening were that these new immigrants to the area eventually became more powerful, became the cream of the crop over there, became the elite class. So how do you think now the local people who are always there are going to look at these people who are coming in now and seeming to just go on this trajectory upwards, where they're running the joint, where they have the power and everything? Another example would be something like what happened in Rwanda. Might be a little bit different in some of the dynamics, but if you think about what happened in Rwanda, you had the Tutsis and you had the Hutus. The Hutus, if I'm not mistaken, believed that they were the ancestral people of that area of Rwanda. They were the ancestral people. And the Tutsis were actually migrants, or people who came from other places and settled in a place like Rwanda. So, when it came to a head, those Tutsis who believed that they were the ancestral owners of that land and should be the one in power, they looked up and realized the Tutsis were the one with all the power. They were the ones in all the important positions. And of course, this led to we know what. Well, something similar in Liberia. I don't know if their civil war was really all about this. I need to look that up. But it was one of those type of things where there was tension between the local population who was there and the new population who were brought in by the United States and resettled there in the land of what we call Liberia today. So my thing is, while there's a lot of young black people, intelligent black people, educated black people who are moving to Ghana, who are moving to Nigeria, who are moving to the Gambia, as they're moving over, And they're going to have to find their way. They're going to go through struggles and everything. And right now, everything is all nice. Everything is all fine and dandy, at least from listening to most of them. You know, they're there. They feel comfortable. They're black people. They don't have to look over their shoulders, per se, because of some white cop or whatever is coming after them. They're looking around and realizing the majority of the population look just like them. So that's a great appeal to what is going on. But my question is, what is going to happen 20, 30, 40 years down the road when a lot of these new people who are coming in, you know, acclimate, assimilate, start to make inroads into those countries, have children, start to do very well for themselves, probably start to hold on to power in those countries. Maybe their children come along. Their children are now citizens of these countries. What is going to happen between them and the local population who is there right now? That is my question. Is it going to be peaceful? Is it going to be something where that's going to generate a certain amount of jealousy? That's going to generate a certain amount of tension, that when things get hard or things get rough, let's hope that's not the case and things just get better, where everyone can share in the pie. But let's just say things make a turn for the worse, and you look around and realize, I'm sorry, that these new people who came over are the ones who are doing well, while the local population who've been there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years realize that they're at the bottom rung. That could happen. We've seen it happen before. Hopefully it doesn't. But I'm wondering if this has been considered. So that is my question I'm asking my Caribbeanologists and my African fans who are watching this right now. How do you think this is going to go over? I have another video, or two other videos, called My Greatest Fear about Africa. And I talk about that. In those videos, I talk about a fear that Africa can return, or may return, parts of Africa that is, back to the days of civil war and coups and so forth. I'm hoping something like that doesn't happen at all. I'm really hoping something like that does not return to it. That's one fear. My other fear is this one. Will the day come, or a time come, when all of a sudden these new people who are moving in right now, you know, people are probably not paying much attention to them, but they're coming in, they're moving in, they're bringing their brains with them, they're bringing their business sense with them, they're bringing added value to the communities over there. But what's going to happen if down the road they start to excel and the local population realize that they're not exactly moving? Will everything be okay then? You guys tell me. Tell me how you think about it. Tell me what you think about it on the ground right now. What are you seeing? What are you noticing? What are you feeling? I would greatly appreciate it, okay? Anyway, you guys take care. Until the next video. Sorry for all the noise around me. I'm out here. This is New York City. You understand it's pretty noisy. The whole COVID-19 scare is, you know, still there. But the city is opening up, so it's getting a lot more noisy around me. So please forgive me for all the noise you're hearing. As a matter of fact, I'm right near a highway right over there, literally about 100 feet away from a highway. So you can hear all of that, right? Anyway, you guys take care. Thank you for tuning in. Please share this video, spread it amongst your friends, subscribe, like, and I really would love to hear from my African friends on this matter. You guys take care until the next video. Thank you for tuning in, okay? You guys take care.